Jeff, I'm wondering, what was this journey like for you? I know it's 5 years in the making. How does it feel to be at the point that you are now?
Thanks, Cameron. Sorry, we were supposed to, I came up a little soon, but the credit music's really beautiful, so I'm sorry it got cut off a little early. But it's all right. If you come on Thursday at 1 o'clock, because you want to see it again, right? Yes, we'll play through the credits. But the journey was great. It was a tough journey because obviously we filmed a lot of footage. It was almost 200 hours of footage to make this film. And we didn't really have a clear direction on where we were going with this. So Athena was really, really great about getting us the patients that she was working with, the focus patients. And so she was able to line up some really amazing patients for us to film with. And I think part of that 5 years or 6 years that it took to make the film, a lot of it had to do with basically finding, the right patients to work with and really taking the time to spend with them, right? Because we wanted to see if we would find a match, right? And someone like Chrissy went 7 years without finding a match. Now I think she's in her 9th year and she still hasn't found a match, So I think this kind of film has to breathe and take time. So I do want to bring up Athena and Alex and Alexandria just to the stage so that it's not just me answering the questions, because this film is so much more about the stories that we captured along with everyone's journey. So yeah, come to the stage. And please do check out the www.mixedmatchproject.com. It's a place where we can go, you can find updates on our subjects, as well as a place where you can find a call to action. So how to join a registry, how to find the registry in your country, and any other information. Plus we have a lot of that 200 hours of bonus footage. We've actually start cutting together clips and put those up on the website. So to our immediate left of me is Alexandria Hernandez. She was Alexandria Taylor in the film, but she's since got married. Alexandria donated her bone marrow. Athena Asclepiadis, who runs Mixed Marrow. And last but not least, Alex Tum, who I think now 2 years since we filmed that, and looking great, my friend. So all of them have come up from Los Angeles to be with us tonight. So we thank you for taking that time to come up with us and hang out. So I guess we would maybe forward the questions to the audience and see if anyone has any questions for either of us or any of us. Yes.
I have 2 questions.
Mm-hmm.
The first question is, can any of you talk about, in terms of the stem cells, why, scientifically in layman's terms, do they not have to cross the same hurdles as HLA, like for bone marrow and blood?
So was it about the umbilical cord blood?
Yes. Yes.
Right. I think, well, Athena, do you want to speak a little bit about that? Because you handle a lot of these questions with the media. So.
Well, the theory is that because they're brand new cells, they're not been in a body long enough to develop I guess issues with rejection as many times. I don't know how to, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a doctor, so I don't say that in the best way possible. I'm a normal, I guess, non-doctor person. So that's the theory that I've heard, is that because they're immature cells, they take to the body a little bit easier. I don't know if you were explained too on that.
Yeah, I was told that since it's stem cells from a baby, it's never developed any bad habits in another person's body. So, the baby stem cell basically came out of the umbilical cord, went into the cord blood bank, and then when called upon, it was taken to the hospital and transplanted into my body. And so my body is essentially the first or second body these stem cells have lived in, and therefore that's why I think there's less complications, because it hasn't developed any bad habits yet. It'll develop my bad habits.
Well, I think what's really interesting, we were talking about this earlier, is that you have a whole new DNA and a whole new blood type, right? And so the Hispanic blood sort of was transplanted to you, and great. Yes, on the front row there.
So at Vancouver Hospital, they started asking people for donation of critical things. So do you know what is the percentage of people donate?
Yeah, so recently, the question's about BC Women's Hospital, and they're the only hospital right now in British Columbia, I believe, that is collecting cord blood for the stem cell bank. There's 5 hospitals in Canada right now that are collecting cord blood. So the process really is voluntary by the mothers. They sign a form, and basically it's medical waste, right? Your umbilical cord blood and the placenta. So I think, you know, if you have the opportunity, and they picked BC Women's because of the high diversity of the babies being born there. Obviously, there's a lot more mixed babies being born, and they picked BC Women's because of that. I don't know the exact percentage of how many mothers actually go on to donate, but I know that they've collected over 600 cord units in the year and a half they've been around. And just 2 weeks ago, I believe, they just used one of those cord units for the very first time to transplant someone. So while it's still a very relatively new science and a new kind of thing with cord blood banking, it's public use, so anybody can use this. So my wife and I, Jen Cato, the lovely Jen Cato, who you saw a little bit more of very brave of her to allow her husband to film her for this film. But you know, I think we really wanted to do that because we knew that our daughter being mixed, my wife is also mixed Japanese, I'm mixed Japanese, could have the potential to save a life, right? And so, you know, we're hoping that more of those units get used. I know in the US they've been doing it for a few years now, and you can privately bank it, but you really then it's just used for you, and the chances of you probably developing or your baby developing a rare blood disease is quite rare. So the cost involved in that is very high. But at least with this, if no one ever uses it, it's available for your child, if you ever so do need it.
We wouldn't need to probably privately bank it if everybody just donated theirs. But unfortunately, it's a slow process to get every hospital trained staff that can do this. So it's happening slowly, but I mean, US and Canada, I believe, or maybe UK too, but a lot of other countries don't have this technology, so we're really lucky that we have that, in our area. So, yeah.
I just want to comment, this is really the best, I think, hope, because there's so many kids getting born every day, so I don't know how complicated it is.
Yeah, we were just talking before the movie started about the idea of incorporating, giving young people that turn 18 the option to donate their cord blood. Just like when you get your driver's license, you have the option to donate your organs or your blood or whatnot. I think it should be built into the infrastructure of society, so that when people when they turn a certain age, they have this option. And another thing is, I think it's very important to let people know that there's a lot of doctors and businesses that are encouraging new mothers to privately to bank their baby's cord blood, which according to all of my doctors at City of Hope, your child has less than a 0.1% of ever using their own cord blood. Say my mom banked my stem cells or my cord blood when I was born, and then 20, 40 years later, I get leukemia. They're not gonna put the same stem cells back into my body to save my life, because it was those stem cells that turned bad. It needs to go into a public bank so that anybody can use it. So a lot of businesses and doctors are encouraging mothers to privately bank, and that's totally wrong. So it's a business. If you really want to do something positive, you want to encourage everybody who's a mother-to-be to store their baby cord blood to a public cord blood bank.
I but yeah, also remember too, there's a cost involved for one match and be the match to do this. So this is why it's not in every hospital right now. But you know, with support, they hopefully will expand the program. Sorry. We'll go up here. Yes, in the middle row. Yeah, you. Yes, you. Look very excited to ask a question.
The question is, I noticed in the film, and first thank you for the film, we're in our second year of post-bone marrow transplant with my husband. And it's a difficult film to watch, but I felt I needed to be here because we're experiencing what you experienced. But in our experience that has been in Canada, and I noticed that most of the footage you have is done in the United States, and I know that in Toronto, there's 3 hospitals in Toronto that deal with transplants for patients with leukemia, and we have our VGH here that has transplants. So I'm just curious as to why we don't have more of a Canadian story with Canadian transplant.
Yeah, I think, you know, people who are mixed, you know, we're still kind of, I don't want to say a rare breed, but we are technically, you know, we're rapidly, it's becoming one of the fastest growing demographics, but this is the supply and demand issue that we have right now, is that people who are mixed of my generation, if we get sick, you know, there's less people who are on the registry who can join because there's 17 to 35 in Canada to join. And so this is why stem cells or cord blood is a good option. But I think with the, Athena is American, she's Los Angeles based, and when you approached me to do the documentary, a lot of it had to do with your contacts and resources that we had to use. And so and some of mine fell through. You know, I had some Canadian patients we were working with, but unfortunately those stories, you know, something might have gone sort of the wrong way, and sometimes the families back out, unfortunately. And so we did have that happen. And some actually, we actually found out a lot of patients, like with the little boy in Richmond, Joshua Weeks, you know, his story came up right at the end of us editing, and Ari from Toronto as well. Had that been, you know, a story that was there when we were making the film, we would have tried to pursue that for sure. So I think the thing was, it was just utilizing your contacts that you had already established. And Athena had been working in this since 2009, right? So what was great about that was that you've already established those really great relationships. And you could tell those relationships were there with Chrissy and everyone. And so we wanted to kind of work with those relationships because they were trusted, like they trusted us. And they knew we would do something that could tell their story properly. So, yeah. And actually, you know, Alexandria, it was amazing. I think when we were doing this film, so great that the right people came to us at the right time. And we were looking for a donor for so long who was about to donate, and we just happened to run into Alexandria. And I think I, myself, and everyone else here in the audience can admit that you're probably the perfect donor we've ever seen, you know, just in terms of the willingness to want to donate. So thank you.
We've got time for 1 or 2 more questions. There's some more from the audience. Yeah, just stand here in the front.
So, I know this film was recently finished, but have you met your... Yeah, have you met her?
Oh, okay, here you go.
Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so I found out that my recipient's name is Olivia Keys. And at the time of the donation, she was 14. She's from Jackson, Mississippi. I met her in the beginning of April of this year, actually. Thank you so much, because Athena and Jeff actually both helped make that happen. It was probably one of the most special moments of my life. When I met her, she unfortunately was suffering from really difficult complications with graft versus host disease. She was cancer-free, which was incredible because the transplant worked, and it did save her life, and it gave her 2 more years with her parents and with her family. She actually passed away 1 week to the day after I met her. So I would like to think that she was waiting for me, and that we needed to meet for us to both have completed this journey. So I was so blessed to be able to contribute something so crucial to her life, and to have met her parents, and to have been able to hug her more than a few times. So it was a really awesome experience for me.
you know, Alex is a true miracle because these patients are very, they're at the last stage of like hope pretty much when they get to the point of transplant. So a lot of them, they've gone through so many different procedures, different treatments to try to cure them through chemo or other methods, and so sometimes they're just very weak. Luckily your match happened fairly quickly, but some people like Chrissy, 9 years to, you don't know what odds you're dealing with, so you could be a perfect match, but if they get pneumonia or something like that, that could trigger them to get worse and worse, and unfortunately pass away because of that, not really because the transplant didn't work. So it's, and Alex knew that was a chance, and so I think she's come to peace with knowing that she did, what all she could have done, and she got to meet her, and I think that was the most important part. So.
Do one more, I guess. Oh, right in the middle. How about that?
So the movie is hugely educational. I'm wondering if you have kind of an advocacy plan for how you're going to roll out the film. Obviously, through film festivals, but is there another series of communication or advocacy pathways that you're looking at plotting out to really get the word out more relative to the scientific and clinical community and then obviously to the general population?
So the question is about how we're getting the film out into the world, and obviously we want as many people in the world to see this, because the more people that see it, hopefully they'll take that call to action, or just at least educate themselves about what the process is. When I started this film, before I met Athena, I knew nothing about any of this, and it took 6 years to really figure it out, and we had to talk to some of the top, scientists and, doctors, transplantation to really get, for me to understand what HLA really was. And I feel like, yeah, we did our best. It's a hard film because there's a lot to cover, and it's a lot of sort of science, it's a lot of the race of medicine, it's a lot of our patient stories. And so it was difficult in that sense, to construct something that could tell that much in that time. So we're hoping that we'll have educational distribution. We're hoping to obviously get it out through all the avenues of VOD and, hopefully maybe even Netflix or something like that. But I think the most important thing is that obviously, everyone else helps us spread the word about the film, and I think if we can get the film out there and, something great happens where it takes off and we can get in the school systems, awesome. If we can get in the medical system, they're playing it, one match maybe might sponsor some screenings in certain territories. We'll see how that rolls out, but obviously the goal is for as many people in the world to see this. And so festivals for this fall, we're doing Hawaii, Toronto, Philadelphia, we'll do San Francisco. We're doing a bunch of other dates. So it's going to get out there. Like I said, follow the website. All of you on your tissues that we handed out, there's the website. So hopefully you didn't have to use those, but if you did, there's the issue, or the tissues issues. So, but yeah, we're definitely going to try our best to get it out. So I'm just going to maybe make some final remarks that, if the People's Choice, please vote for us, because it helps an indie film like ours, help get some exposure. That's a great way as well too. As well, tell people about the Thursday screening. It's at 1 o'clock. We're going to have one match there, and it's going to be really amazing that people will be able to sign up afterwards if you're between the ages of 17 and 35, because that's the age of joining the registry in Canada. So we really encourage you to do that if you can. If not, just encourage other people, to maybe think about this and spread the word. One match is doing marvelous things. Be the match in America is doing marvelous things. And so we just encourage you to kind of educate yourself, right, on what these topics are. And we really know these Q&As are great, but if you want to continue the conversation with us, we're going to have an after party. It's just at Toby's, which is on Commercial. It's like a pub. We have the upstairs. We invite all of you to come join us. There's, bring your friends. Anybody can come. We have drinks. We have food, and we'll have a great conversation. So please come join us after this there at Toby's. And it'll be just a nice way to kind of just talk to our subjects here and our cast and crew. We have, like I said, Kaho, the animator's here. Kaho Yoshida, where are you? You did such a great job on the animation. She's holding a stem cell. If you come, we actually have a selfie station, or like cell like a stem cell, a stem cell station, a selfie station, a stem selfie station. We actually have. Oh, I forgot to bring up. We have other guests. Here's the daddy stem cell. Oh, here's the mommy stem cell. Let's not forget the all-important umbilical cord blood baby stem cell. Thanks, Cam. You can come take pictures with our selfie family. And David Suzuki took a picture with our baby one last night. So you too can be like David Suzuki. So please come join us. It's free to come in upstairs and carry the conversation on with us. And it's a 2-minute walk from here. It's like you go down the street, turn left. No, right. Turn right. It's in between 11th and 12th. I'm really plugging this because I want you to come hang out with us. And it's just basically because these guys, it's very special for them to all have come up from LA, and we really, really value that you did that for us. And the Thursday screening, Athena will be there, so she'll be able to answer some more questions for friends of yours that you'd like to invite to our screening. So thank you so much. Thank you to VIFF. And again to the TELUS Fund for sponsoring. I don't know if Elizabeth showed up or not, but oh, there you are. Thank you, Elizabeth. It was very. Without them and their valuable support, and as well all the Indiegogo and all of our other funders, this could not have happened. So, we really want to encourage that you support good projects out there, and all of you can do that now with Indiegogo and all these other sort of things. So, support the arts. Great, thanks, Vic.
Thank you all for coming. Thank you, Jeff, for bringing this film to the